Welcome to All Things Retreat Podcast. I'm Holly Porter, your host and CEO of Retreat R&R. With over 25 years of experience in designing transformative retreats, I'm here to share insights and inspiration to help you create extraordinary experiences. Whether you're a pro or just starting out, you'll find valuable ideas here. Enjoy the ride. Let's dive in. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing well and having a fabulous day or evening, wherever you're listening in the world. We're happy that you're here and you landed on our podcast. What does it take to keep moving forward when life's given you every reason to give up? Today's guest is a definition of unstoppable. He was raised on a large working farm and later served as a United States Marine. He learned early in life about discipline, determination, and doing what needs to be done. But nothing could have fully prepared him for the challenges ahead. He's a multiple-time near-death survivor who has endured more than 70 major surgeries. Today, he's mostly paralyzed and uses a power wheelchair. Yet, he continues to build, create, invent, write, solve problems, and push forward every day. He's a career entrepreneur, corporate problem solver, inventor, and author whose life is a powerful reminder that circumstances don't have to determine our future. His philosophy is simple but profound. Whatever has happened has happened. We cannot go back and change it. What we can do is learn from it, do better, and believe that greater things are still ahead. So today we're talking about resilience, reinvention, purpose, and what it means to keep believing in future after surviving the impossible. So please welcome our extraordinary guest, Jay Setchell.
Oh, hey Holly, good to be here. Good to be here, young lady. Thank you.
Well, I'm glad you're here and not somewhere else, or I wouldn't have a guest.
Well, I can disappear real quick.
Please don't. I like my shows to have guests.
Right after that introduction, thank you.
Well, we're happy. Did I say your last name correctly?
Setchell?
Setchell.
I think so.
I think I did. That's rare. That's okay. We take what we get and we don't throw a fit, right?
Amen. Amen.
Jay, when people see everything that you have survived, they may focus on your physical limitations. But before we talk about what happened to you, who do you want people to understand who you are?
I believe anything's possible, and you can achieve it. You just have to believe it, have the faith you can do it, and move towards it.
Yeah, I so agree. Well, thank you for your service, first of all, but what led you to join the United States Marine Corps?
My cousin Bob was 7 years older than I was. He was kind of like my childhood hero, and he served from 60 to 64, and he told me not to join it.
So you did.
And I wanted to go in the Marine Corps anyhow, because, that was where it was the toughest branch. And after Bob told me, Jay, whatever you do, don't go in the Marine Corps. That's like telling a kid to stay out of the candy jar,
Yeah.
And I remember telling my mom, I just enlisted in the Marine Corps. And she cried, and I think she would have shot me if she had had a gun, but, she was teaching a class and couldn't leave the class. So,
Oh, no. I have one of my kids is in the National Guard, and he's full-time in the National Guard, about number 12 year now. And he always wanted the Marine Corps and wanted to go full-time. And then he got a high school girlfriend who talked him out of it, and she didn't want him in full-time. So he enlisted in National Guard because they're like, it's a weekend thing. And then he went to boot camp and she cheated on him and they got divorced. But he stayed in the National Guard and he's making a career out of it and doing great. So, and he got a better wife. So he traded up all the way around.
Traded up. That's good.
How would you say that the Marine Corps helped your mindset? Because I really feel like they mess with you until they break you until they build you. I don't know. That's just been my opinion on it forever. But what would you say?
They do. They break you down to nothing, and then they build you back up. They build you to what they want at that time. But when I did it, it was all Vietnam. So we took 14-week boot camp into 9 weeks, and we were told that you got slugged in the guts till you threw up blood. You got punched in the face, every name in the book. And it didn't matter because what we were going to face. And we knew that half of our platoon at least would go to Vietnam and half of us would not come back at all. And that's almost exactly what happened.
Mm.
But I don't know that the Marine Corps affected my mindset, Holly, as much as my childhood, because when I went in, I already thought that way. I really did.
Oh,
I thought with a sense of urgency, responsibility, ownership, do as you're told, act on it, pay attention to detail, all of that stuff like that. They just pounded it deeper into my hard head.
yeah.
I was raised very, very well. I had a great education being raised on the farm by really good parents and their parents, and I'm eighth generation on our farm. So
Wow.
I went through a lot on the farm, and so the Marine Corps was kind of I don't know, you learn different tactics and things to do to people, and
Yeah.
you carry that into Vietnam back in my day, and but I don't know that it taught me it really pounded into my head more. It's always too soon to quit. You'll
Yeah.
never say quit. Never give up.
Right.
There is no well, our saying is semper fi, do or die.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you do it or you die.
It's interesting that brings up a really I feel like the S in my book of shift is surrender. And I don't feel like surrender is giving up. Surrender is just when you realize you need help. And we all need help. Like you said, you're looking there. Rotary International, and I've said this before on the show, their motto, I feel like, is flawed. It was created in 1917, I think, 1914. So it's old. And it was created by a bunch of old men, I'm sure. No offense to anybody, but I'm just saying it was service above self. And if you think about that, you can't have service above yourself. I mean, you have to take care of yourself. You can't pour from an empty cup. You've got to serve others with at least a half to full cup, right?
Yeah. It's like, I mean, the Marine Corps, I learned or was reinforced what I was raised with, and that's the world is a lot bigger than you are.
Yeah.
Other people, if you pay attention to other people and work for them, I believe that the more people you help, the better person you become. And
100%.
I believe that with all my heart. And I don't, and the word you use, surrender, I will never give up, but I do know to use that word surrender, like you said,
Yeah.
there are times when you say, this isn't going right. I'm not going there. I'm going to move it over here. I'll
Hmm.
pivot.
Yeah.
If that's surrender, okay, I surrender, but I'm not quitting.
Yeah,
So,
right. And I don't believe, yeah, quitting is not part of surrender as far as I'm concerned either. So I agree with you.
yeah,
But I'm all about service. Like my whole every career decision path that I've ever been on is always has service aspect in it. And the philanthropy I do, it's always there. And I've learned over the years that if I'm not filling my own cup, it's really hard to keep giving when it's empty. And so I
right,
think service starts with you first. And that doesn't mean being self-serve. That doesn't mean making it all about you, but you do have to take care of yourself at some level. So I think there's a balance in there somewhere.
well, a lot of it's a mental balance
Yeah.
because am I okay? Am I thinking right? Do I have the right goals or thoughts before I help Holly do this? Or am I leading her in the right way correctly, and
Yeah.
or am I helping her in
Yeah.
any way, shape, or form in it the best I can do? And
Yeah.
I need to get my mindset to it's kind of like you mentioned something before about the military too, and and you've heard of a thing called the battle plan. Okay,
Hmm.
the battle plan's good, but when the battle starts, you take the plan and throw it out the window,
Yeah.
and you got to remember that. And it's kind of like life, but get your head screwed on straight, and if you know you're set there and you're and the word mindset that you already said and I've said is it used to be when I was younger was attitude. Because you may remember too, it was like you probably heard the comment about some guy or a woman. They need to get an attitude adjustment or I'll
Yes.
straighten them out. Okay, that's it. And so, but attitude kind of gave way to mindset. And I don't know why, because I still say, hey, what's your problem with your attitude?
Yeah.
So
Well, that's because that's how we learned. I mean, that's what we knew. But
yeah,
okay, I'm going to shift gears.
for it.
So listeners, a lot of my listeners that have listened for a while know that I had a near death experience, bunch of out of body spiritual experience, and I know you had several of those too. Of course, this show's not about near death experiences, so they can probably go on YouTube and put your name in there and find some other ones more about that. But I'm just curious around that. Since you had multiple near death experience, can you take us back to maybe an experience that changed your life most profoundly?
The third time I died, the third time, was from a broke. I was married 3 weeks the day that it happened. I was 31 and a half. 4th of July, 1981. I jumped in a swimming pool feet first in 3.5 feet of water. Broke my neck at 4 places and drowned and was paralyzed from the shoulders down. Never supposed to move again.
Yeah. Wow.
That's pretty profound.
How did that change you?
It gave me more faith and it gave me a harder work ethic. I already had a obsessively crazy, hard 22-hour a day work ethic, but it gave me more of a mental work ethic because it's like right now, being mostly paralyzed, my right arm works, it flops, but I can't use it for anything really. But
Right.
and my writing on my left hand, my wrist is fused, my fingers have been all broken and stuff, and knuckles and every blah blah blah. And but I've just had to learn to adapt. I mean, you've got to learn to do things differently,
Yes.
and but yet continue to push forward. And this is the smart part. This is what you need. And somebody asked me, they said, "Well, you can't operate on that alone." And I said, "Well, you ever heard of a guy named Stephen Hawking's? Okay, he couldn't move anything for years, and
Yeah.
was one of the most brilliant men that probably ever lived. And yet, at the same time, and so my other comment was, okay, if I take you from the head up or from your neck up, and you
Yeah.
don't have anything, you can't even think at about anything, but you're fine from here down. What are you going to do? Because
Yeah.
now your body's useless without your mind.
Right.
So it's in your head. It's in your head. Everything's mental. You
Hmm.
can getting back to the word mindset, attitude, grit, determination, perseverance, uh,
Absolutely.
commitment. It doesn't matter. Discipline.
Yeah. I think it all decide. It all starts with one word: decision. You decide you're going to have a different way, and that's the first part of making it the change.
Well, we are in my book. I say we are all a choice. We are all a product. I'm sorry. We're all a product of the choices we've had and the decisions we've made.
Hmm.
Because you can choose in the morning you want iced tea or coffee, for example.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, whatever you choose, that's your decision.
Yeah.
So if you go down the road and you come to a Y, you have to make a decision, and that's it. And it can be, and even if it's a bad decision, it can be a good one. And I heard of something here recently, Holly. I would like to just throw out real quick. And it's like
Yeah.
people said, I heard this another. I'm an old man, but I heard it from an older man, and he said, you know what? There's never a bad hand in the cards. It's how you play them, because you can have a great hand of cards and get beat by somebody with a terrible hand. It's how
Yes.
it's how you play the game.
Yeah. It's so true, and you're right. And the decisions you make in the game that definitely have the outcome.
Yeah.
So let's talk about resilience for a moment, because obviously you have a lot of resilience. But do you think it's something that you're born with, or do you think it's a strength that we develop through adversity?
I I I believe certain people have that opportunity to be born with a little bit of it in their DNA, which gives them a heck of a head start. But
Yeah.
it's definitely born through doing all the things that you're uncomfortable with, that are hard, that are painful, that are difficult, that nobody else wants to do, and you keep doing it, no matter whether it's 40 below zero and I'm 4.5 years old feeding a calf, or it's 100 degrees and I'm feeding a calf. It doesn't matter. When I'm 4.5 and 5, I was already doing that. So it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It's putting up with whatever is there and moving forward and having the faith, the belief, and the vision that you can see ahead. And
Mhm.
to use another analogy, and it's not an analogy, it's a fact, but when you know what the parallel bars are when you're going through rehab, right? You know the two
Oh yeah.
bars. Okay,
Okay.
parallel bars.
Been there, done that.
Okay, and yeah, yeah, I've done it too. And the tough thing is that what I saw, most people that use the parallel bars, they had to use a ace bandage on my right hand to hold it to the bar because it's paralyzed, and my left one was working pretty good. And they follow you with a wheelchair in case you fall down backwards, and somebody's in front of you, and they've got a gait belt on, right? Okay,
Right.
you remember that. Okay, so when everybody I saw always looked here. They looked here. They were worried about this. I never did that. I looked at
Mm.
the end of the bar, and that's my goal. I
Yeah.
never looked at my feet. I never looked at my hands. And before my left arm, which was the first thing that started to move, and when it twitched and it had a little bit of a it's twitching. I'm going to make it work, number one. And number two is I'm going to walk out of here. I knew I was going to walk 8 months before I walked. I knew it. I had the faith in it. I believed in it. And there's a difference. Some people say, I hope I can walk.
Yeah.
Well, there's a big difference between hope
Right.
and believing and having the faith that I believe with all my heart because you can see it, you can feel it, you can taste it.
Yes. Yes.
And that's what I had. I knew I'd walk months before I walked.
Yeah. So it's funny you just said. So SHIFT stands for, in my book, from my near-death experience, surrender, hope, intuition, faith, and transformation. You said like three of them in that one paragraph. So there you go, in alignment, right?
We must be shifting together or something.
That's right. It's all about the shift. Well, when you decided to do your book, when did you decide, like, where was that moment for you and like, all right, it's time to tell my story and I'm going to write a book? Like,
Well, I've been told to write a book for 50 some years, 55 years. And it's just not me. I'm not a writer. I'm the kid that when he went to school in English class, every book every book report I started, everything started out with once upon a time. I never knew it started out with
the end.
cow, look at the cow jump over the moon. I didn't know you could do that. And so, but I just didn't believe that I had a story to tell. And I had a gentleman come from an institute called the Pacific Institute. And I had worked with a man that started the Pacific Institute named Lou Tice back in 1976. And it was kind of a thing about mindset, but that wasn't what it was called. It was attitude at the time.
Uh,
And but anyhow, Mark Pansiera came, and he was the president of and he had heard a podcast that was done on me about 10 years ago by a guy out of Atlanta. And I didn't even know it existed. I'd never heard it. And he had heard it, and he called me and asked me if I would come to a place in Tampa and talk to a group of people, for an hour, 3 different days in a row, which I did. And so he called me two years ago, like in June, and said, I'd like to come to your part of the state of Texas. I'm going to be in San Antonio. I'd like to come visit you, and I'd like to do an interview on LinkedIn. And when he got here, my wife and I met him at a place for supper the night that they showed up, and then he spent the night and they came out the next day. And when I was moving from my wheelchair, trying to get in a seat, which I usually never do, he said, he watched me in pain. He watched the hurt and everything I went through to do it, because I would like to sit in a regular chair once in a while.
sure.
And I never do anymore at all. And but he said to me, he said, "Do you ever feel sorry for yourself at all? Do you
Mm,
ever think about that?" And my wife and I both looked at him like, "Why would I do that? What? I don't know. I don't even understand the question, really, because no, I don't." And so anyhow, that next day during our talk, when we were done, he said, "Jay, you got to write a book. You have
mm,
got to write a book because you have a story of resilience that I've never heard." And he's in his early 60s, and he's been teaching mindset and stuff for 35 or 40 years. And I've never heard anything like this. And I've seen it, I've watched it. And you're just a work in progress, and you're not going to stop. You just there is something innate in you
Yeah.
that is resilience personified, is what he said. And he
What's your
said,
book called?
the strength within you, it's always too soon to quit.
I like that.
Strength
And
within you. Because
do you have it?
you have a strength within you, Holly. Everybody listening to you, all your audience has a strength within them. Is it their DNA? Is it their upbringing? Is it their church? Is it faith? Is it
Yeah.
their mom, their dad? Is it aggravation, pain? There's a million things it can be, but what
Right.
can you dig into to find to push you through that next adversity or roadblock or
Yeah.
detour? And I feel that with all my heart. And that's
Yeah.
where he just said, Jay, you are so committed to it, you get really direct about it.
Yeah.
And I believe that with 100%. And the book really, Holly, is a little bit about my medical stuff, and but it talks about my when we talked about the medical. I think I said, "Gosh darn, I lost where I was at." But
We were
it's
talking about the book.
oh, okay. It talks about some of the medical things and issues, but it's more about what does it take to help you move through the problem. I don't,
Right.
when I interview corporately or when I've hired people over the years or when I talk to somebody, I don't really, it's great that they got this award. It's great that they did that. It's great they won the Super Bowl. It's great. But what did they have to do to make it through it? What did they
Yeah.
have to do to get through that? And what did they learn from it? And how can they take it into the future to overcome other adversities, like I was starting to say,
Right. Right.
or roadblocks and detours, because they're going to run into them
Yeah.
at some point.
Yeah.
So that's really what the book is about. And then I've got, it's like my website, which, as I mentioned prior to the podcast, I didn't know they didn't have it turned on, so to speak. And so
Yeah.
it'll be up and going, but it's kind of takes after me, and it's called neverquittrying.com.
I love
So,
that.
and there's a little link on there to me. And I know that it worked a while because I got some emails from people and stuff. And I got an email I'd like to share with you if you highlighted some things. And what I'm trying to tell you, Mr. Setchell, is I'm 88 years old, 88 and a half. My husband died 5 years ago, and I don't care if I live to be 89 or 90. I do not care. I read your book, and I read all those passages so many times that now I do care, and I'm planning my 95th birthday.
Oh, why
And
not our 100th?
well, it gave me a tear. I'm
Yeah.
thinking if that changes that lady's life
Yeah.
that much at that age, that to
Mhm.
renew it, we can all be
We need
renewed.
to take that lesson as readers of people's books and give them those compliments. Whatever thoughts we're having about it, especially if they're positive, figure out a way to let that author know. Send them an email, send them something, because again, look how it touched you, but because it touched them. And when I wrote my book, it was like, I'm just telling it to one person and it changes something about the trajectory of their life. It's worth it to me
Right.
to share, and I think that we need to take that as a lesson and all do that and push forward. But I'm going to put all of your information in our show notes so that our listeners can find you, get a hold of you, reach out to you. And there's so much wisdom here. I wish we had 2 hours, but we don't. And I think you shared so many words of wisdom. So I appreciate you coming. And
If I may, I'd like to just kind of sum my comments up with a comment that no matter what lies behind us, all the matters that lie behind us and all the matters that lie ahead of us are very small compared to what lies within us. And we have so much within us to do, and we've learned from what we've done, so why not keep moving forward? But it's within us. So, but it's
so true.
Some good words.
So keep moving forward, keep the grit, be resilient, and learn from Jay. All right, everyone. We will see you next time on the show. Come back and visit often. See you later. Bye for now. Thanks for joining us on this episode of All Things Retreat. We hope you're leaving with new ideas, fresh inspiration, and the motivation to take your retreats to the next level. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. It helps us grow and reach more retreat leaders like you. And if you have any questions, topics you'd like us to cover, or just want to say hello, send us an email at info@weretreatrnr.com. Follow us on social media to stay connected and catch all the latest updates. Until next time, remember, great retreats start with great intentions. Let's make them extraordinary, one step at a time. Thinking about hosting a retreat? Before you dive in, let's make sure you're really ready. Grab your free Are You Retreat Ready checklist and find out if you've got everything in place, from your purpose and pricing to your audience and agenda. Don't guess, get clear. This quick checklist will show you exactly where you stand and what you need to make your retreat a success. Click the link below in the show notes to grab your gift and take the first step toward hosting with confidence.